What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Today marks the third video. I hope you enjoyed number 1 and number 2. I hope with number 3 I can improve things a little bit better for you all. I took some of the feedback that I've gotten from video 1 and video 2, and I'm going to put it into this video as I'm filming it and as I'm editing afterwards. The audio might be better in this one, simply because I put a media mod on my GoPro. The only thing I might end up changing later on is getting me a lav mic, put it in my pocket or whatever, and start recording audio separately from the camera. So you're always getting me. All I know is that today, it's the GoPro with a media mod. So far, I've had a pretty good time of filming this and editing as well. My editing skills have went from kind of subpar to almost not subpar, I guess. I hope that translates well over into the videos and makes them better from here on out. But time will tell. So today we're gonna get started on the drift blazer. This is Project Thrash. I should be able to do basically any type of thrashing I want to it and it just live. Really quick to catch y'all up, this is a Vortec 4200 out of an 04 Trailblazer. It is an inline 6 dual overhead cam 6-cylinder. This platform originally came with a 4.3 liter V6, so similar cubic inch. This is a 4.2, the other was a 4.3, so technically I went 0.1 liters smaller in the engine, but this motor should produce better power and a better power curve, and it'll be easier to fit a turbo on later on. So the overall theme of this build, I want a JDM style drift build with almost all American parts. This is American inline 6, the American version of the Toyota 2J, that was popular in a lot of your JDM platforms. Here's a custom machine flywheel to fit this engine. It is SFI approved, so it has a little bit more level of safety than it would have been if I would have modified the original one that came with the transmission. This is a small block Chevrolet 10.5-inch clutch setup. These clutches, I believe, come from like an 89 T5 IROC Camaro. On top of these two items, we have a factory Colorado slave cylinder. This goes with the transmission that also come out of Colorado, so this would be a factory replacement unit. It should work just fine. It is made plenty well enough to do what we're gonna be doing with it. I had to buy new flywheel bolts for the 4200 because the flex plate was thinner and had shorter bolts, so they did not go all the way through the flywheel into the motor. Those are for a Ford modular motor. The shoulder bolts I had to buy for the clutch set to go on the flywheel are small block Chevrolet shoulder bolts, just regular off-the-shelf bolts. I believe I went with ARP just because it was on sale and they were like 15 bucks. So that gives you all a little bit on the past, catches you all up to where we are now, and projects a little bit for the future. So you all can kind of have a little bit of the plans that I have in my head for this build. Now I do have a little bit of a mess behind me to get cleaned up. A little bit of the stuff that's over there cleaned up and sorted as well. Once I get all that cleaned up, I can kind of unbury a little bit of stuff that I've packed around the Blazer and get it ready, because today I'd like to get that motor out of there.
Having installed the balancer on the motor, I can get it rolled off to the side and get it kind of tucked away. With it tucked away, and we can move on to the Blazer. Here's a couple motor mounts that I cobbled together. Passenger side, I'm not the greatest fan of. Might end up redoing it. But the driver's side, I feel like it's a lot better. Next, we got to remove the hood. It's quite the task for one person, if I do say so. To be able to get to it easier and lift it, I go ahead and take the bumper off as well. And then continue on with pulling it off and setting it off to the side so we can get more access to that engine. Once the hood's off, we can move on to getting the core support out of the way so we can have plenty of room to pull the motor straight out the front. Now once the core support's out of the way, we'll go over and grab the old cherry picker, Harbor Freight Special, you know, roll it over and get it situated into place.
Now I've almost got this thing ready to pull out. The engine is all the way unhooked all the way around it. Engine mounts are off of it, the wiring harness is out of the way, so on and so forth. The transmission though is still on top of the cross member and the shifter's up through the floor. So I have to remove the shifter out of the floor, lift the trans up just a hair, slide the cross member out from under it, and then I should be able to drop the transmission and then start to yank it out. That's all the time I really want to put into it this evening. Tomorrow I can get a fresh start. I have my grandmother's Honda down at Mom and Dad's. I gotta go get it in the morning, bring it up here and get the radio installed in it. It has a factory nav unit and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get that nav unit out and the regular radio back in, simply because of the factory wiring. It is what it is, man. So got to get that taken care of first thing in the morning, then I can hop back on this. Tomorrow, hopefully we can get the motor and transmission all the way out of there, get the motor on an engine stand flipped over, and I can show you all the old pan situation.
First things first, I have to take care of my grandmother's car. The radio went in pretty quickly and I didn't have too much trouble with it. It took a little longer than I thought because I had to run a backup camera from scratch. The car didn't come with one, but loving my grandmother, I thought I should go ahead and add it in. Next up was getting the motor transmission out of the Blazer. It didn't take too much effort, but I did forget to hit the record button on my GoPro, so I didn't get any footage of the process. Now, I believe I might redo this passenger side motor mount. I don't like how it turned out, and I believe I would like to be able to unbolt it from the frame rail versus having it welded on. Moving along, I staged up some parts that's got to go on the motor. I'm excited to install that shiny flywheel and brand new clutch, but I also have a nice intercooler and a brand new radio that's got to go in as well. The Ar5 transmission is super dirty, but I don't think I'm going to clean it up. I'm just going to run it as is and see how long it lasts. This is the first motor mount I've ever built, so I did a decent enough job, if I don't say so. I do have to trim the gusset to be able to get the dipstick in the pan, but here it is. Now the pan does have a giant chunk missing out of it because it was made for a 5-cylinder engine, not a 6-cylinder. The 6-cylinder never came with the rear sump pan, so I got to cut it apart and make it longer.
It's been a long week, been to the doctor a couple times, had a CT scan. For those of you who don't know, I only have one kidney, so getting up in my 30s now, kind of need to start watching my health and making sure I'm gonna live at least another 30, you know? Knocked out some paying jobs throughout the week, try to keep the money flowing in and keep the family afloat, if you know what I mean. It was also the 4th of July, so we did spend some time as a family. Went down to Mom and Dad's and had a little cookout and whatnot. Overall, it's pretty nice to spend some time with everybody. All in all, it's been a fairly good week. I haven't got as much video as I would have wanted to, but it is what it is. At least I got as much done as I did get done. Doing something is better than doing nothing. You can sit and think about stuff all day long, what you're gonna do and plan it out and this and that, but until you actually get out and get to going, nothing ever gets done. So, till the next time, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next one.